In the last episode, we reviewed the CCP's malicious agenda that Vice helped execute. To paint the whistleblower movement as a cult, with Miles as the ringleader, Isabel understood that she needed the following elements in her fiction. 1. Cult of personality. 2. Heretical ideas. 3. Mind control. 4. Fraudulent money schemes. 5. Antisocial behaviors. And 6. Third-party stories. And lastly, of course, a good editing to finish the job. Part 1. Miles Guo and the whistleblower movement.
Guo is a self-proclaimed dissident from China. He's inspired a massive cult of personality and has used his enormous platform to spread lies. When Guo promotes a lie, people listen.
Immediately following her accusation against Miles, Isabel used words taken out of the context from Nicole's earlier interview to convey 3 key messages. 1. There is more to the dissident story claimed by Miles, so she planted the seeds here, aiming for a later harvest. 2. Miles distributed disinformation for self-gain. And 3. The followers of the whistleblower movement were brainwashed by Miles and acted out on the disinformation. Here are some facts. Miles is not only a dissident from China, but also is the only one that has received unprecedented attention from the CCP, evidenced by the public documents released by the U.S. Department of Justice. In 2017, the CCP promised to pay a windfall of $75 million to high-profile lobbyists such as Elliot Broidy to influence the highest levels of the U.S. government, Trump administration, to deport Miles back to communist China. Justice was eventually served. In 2018, one of the former DOJ employees pleaded guilty to one account of conspiracy to falsify bank statements to pay for the lobbying campaign. And in 2020, Elliot Broidy also pleaded guilty to violating Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, for doing the CCP's bidding. Besides hiring high-profile PR firms and lobbyists in the United States, the CCP has imprisoned Miles' business associates and family members and frozen some $17 billion in assets of Miles in China. While waving the stick in its hands, the CCP has attempted to also use the carrot approach to persuade Miles to quit whistleblowing and return home, after which the government would release assets it had frozen and leave his relatives in peace. These plans didn't work. The CCP then continued with multiple kidnap and assassination attempts and smearing campaigns accusing Miles of a fraud and rapist. Additionally, the CCP, via its spy network in the US, has indirectly financed 80% of the legal cases against Miles. This is just one of many tactics used by the CCP, not aiming for a guilty verdict, but rather purposefully consuming Miles' time, energy, mental well-being, and financial resources. Once the initial court complaints were logged, the CCP would hire media hitmen like Isabel to slander Miles with unsubstantiated allegations to destroy Miles' reputation. Miles' humble beginning, his journey, and his perseverance have touched so many people's hearts, and his mission of taking down the CCP resonates with so many Chinese, many of whom had doubts initially if this mission was even remotely attainable, knowing who was the enemy. Today, Miles is regarded as a hero for the Chinese little guys, 老百姓. It is him that lit the hope for Chinese 老百姓 to think the unthinkable, that we could one day unroot the most corrupt, tyrannical, and brutal regime on earth, the Chinese Communist Party. As more Chinese heard Miles' whistleblowing on YouTube live streaming, more people joined the whistleblower movement. Today, the whistleblower movement has millions of followers from the 7 continents, among whom are those still living inside the firewall of communist China or overseas in countries that are under influence of the CCP. They risk everything, including their lives, hoping to add one more straw that can lead to the total collapse of this mafia regime. By now, you should understand why the CCP not only attacks Miles, but also the whistleblower movement and its followers. A fabricated cult story can help fan the hate crime against the Chinese diaspora, not only in America, but worldwide, so the CCP can eliminate its threats using the sword borrowed from others. In the next episode, we will discuss more facts labeled by Isabel as disinformation or lies.